Tonight, a potential breakthrough in one of the deadliest forms of cancer. Pancreatic cancer makes up about 3% of cancer cases in the U.S., but 7% of cancer deaths. The 5-year survival rate is just 12%. But now, new hope on the horizon, and this is such good news today. A vaccine is showing promise in the fight against this deadly disease. Our chief health editor, Dr. Partha Nandi, joins us with this exciting development. And Doc, how does it work? Customized vaccine?
Yeah, exciting indeed, right, Glenda? So I'm super excited. Why? Because I see people dying all the time. This trial, really shows that pancreatic cancer can actually be treated. And right now, pancreatic cancer kills roughly 88% of patients. And the reason why survival rates are so low is because it's very hard to detect in the early stages when it's more curable. On top of that, even when tumors are removed, about 90% of patients will see the cancer return within 7 to 9 months. But there may be hope on the horizon. Like I said, scientists at BioNTech, who created the COVID mRNA vaccine with Pfizer, teamed up with an American company called Genentech. And here's what happened. 16 patients were recruited and their tumors were surgically removed. Then scientists, they did something called sequencing the genetic code and analyzed specific proteins on these cancer cells from each patient's tumor. Then using that data, 16 tailor-made mRNA vaccines were created. Each patient then received 8 doses of this vaccine intravenously through the IV, then 6 months of chemo, followed by 1 more experimental vaccine dose. And here's the great news. Blood tests showed that half the patients developed what are called T cells that could potentially recognize, attack pancreatic cancer cells. And 18 months later, here's what we found. None of the patients showed signs of the cancer returning. To me, that's exciting as can be. Whereas the group that did not receive a personalized vaccine, the cancer returned in most cases about 13 months after surgery.
So how long did it take to make this custom vaccine?
Well, you talked about this customized, right? It took Glenda about 9 weeks to make the vaccine, but the company expects the process could be shortened to 4 weeks. Now, how about cost, right? Each dose is just under $100,000. But remember, it's quite pricey, but it's still in the experimental stages. There are only 16 participants, so we need a much larger clinical trial to see how successful the personalized vaccine really is. But I'm very excited. In the meantime, it's important for people to know the risk factors because pancreatic cancer is often called a silent killer, meaning most folks don't notice or experience any symptoms until the cancer has really spread. So here are a few key risk factors to be aware of and some symptoms. Smoking. Tobacco use is one of the most important risk factors for pancreatic cancer. Obesity, especially if you carry the weight around your waist, and type 2 diabetes. In fact, sudden onset diabetes, Glenda, could potentially be a sign of this deadly disease. And then chemical exposure, specifically pesticides and petrochemicals. And lastly, your family history. Please know your family history because pancreatic cancer seems to run in some families. And be sure to talk to your doctor about these risk factors to see if there's some way to prevent it. To me, we hear it in the news, people die, get diagnosed and die of pancreatic cancer. This gives us some hope, and that's what's exciting about it.
Yes, so important. Thank you, Dr. Nandi. Appreciate your update.
Of course.
And remember to tune in this weekend to the Dr. Nandi Show, where he's exploring other methods of healing outside of medicine. He's talking about alternatives, including musical, nutritional, and animal therapy. That's Sunday, 1 p.m. right here on 7.